The following is a live copyrighted presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for RadioLawTalk.com with your host, Frederick Penny, attorney at law. And now, RadioLawTalk.com.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of Radio Law Talk, better known as the Fun House. We're here with a full house of Chris Rodriguez, Fred Penny, that's me. We've got Todd Cunin, and most importantly, we've got Denise Dirks, the one that keeps the three boys in this room and the one boy in the other room under wraps.
Is that not true?
That is not true. So it is true. So anyway, we're going to finish up on the case. We're going to do a case or no case next hour. And if you want to tweet in, go ahead and tweet us at Radio Law Talk. If you want to talk about case or no case, do the hashtag Radio Law Talk. And before we get to Todd, we want to make sure you stay tuned because we're going to talk about what we think, and that's Denise and Todd are going to just bring up some theories of why Justice Kennedy is retiring.
So do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first as to why we think Justice Kennedy is retiring?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. So and this gets into a one of the listeners contacted us and said, we want to thank Harry Reid.
Yeah,
and the individual
Sherry was our listener.
Sherry was a listener, and so we'll thank Harry Reid. And at first we looked at it and thought, why Harry Reid? And then we remembered in 2013, when Harry Reid was the Speaker of the House, he employed what he called the nuclear option, which was to change the number of votes required to confirm executive appointments and some judicial nominations from, as Fred mentioned, from 60 votes to a simple majority. So 51 votes and the nomination goes through. Well, at the time, they did not extend that to the nominations for Supreme Court justices. So from 2013 up until last year, for Supreme Court justices, it was still assumed that if one opening came up and there was something, it would still be at 60, but the issue hadn't arisen. So when Gorsuch was appointed or was nominated by Trump last year, and there was a question about whether or not the Senate was going to confirm, thinking that they needed 60, Mitch McConnell came in and said, well, no, that nuclear option employed by the Democratic leader, Harry Reid, we're going to have that work for for the Supreme Court nominations as well. And Gorsuch was confirmed using the simple majority rule as opposed to the 60% rule. And this brings me to why I think that the retirement occurred now.
And why is that?
It's because there is an election. Right now, the Republicans hold a majority of the Senate. And it's Senate confirmation. So there are enough Republicans to get 51 votes to nominate a Republican nominee or a nominee by a Republican president. And there is the question about whether or not that balance in the Senate will continue to be a Republican majority come November. When the midterm elections arise, there's a question about whether or not the Republicans will lose that majority in the Senate. So, and we know that Kennedy is friends with Donald Trump, and so the strategery, as Will Ferrell impersonating George Bush once said, the strategy would be if Kennedy retires now and President Trump names the nominee, which the news says is probably going to come out on the 7th or the 2nd.
2nd.
Okay, the 2nd. Monday.
Yeah, it's going to come out, and he's got it down to 2 women.
So he's going to announce the nominee on Monday, and then they'll go through the background process and confirmation hearings.
One of them is Trump girls.
And go through the confirmation hearings, but that could get to the Senate, and most likely will get to the Senate for confirmation hearings before the midterm elections. So this individual could be confirmed by a Senate that currently holds a Republican majority, and that's why I think it's taking place now.
And that may be the political reason, but there's a very personal reason that Justice Kennedy.
That you think.
That I think that Justice Kennedy is actually making this exit this year. First of all, I do believe him. Absolutely. He's a family man. So he does want to spend time with his family. He's got wonderful children, and he's got now grandchildren. Haven't met the grandchildren, but I met a couple of his kids. And he's a really family man, really great family man. But secondly, his legacy is that he's the swing vote. And he has made law so much in that position. He was extremely powerful. And I do think that with Neil Gorsuch coming on board, he saw that some of the really big wins he had that were more liberal in nature might be overturned. And I don't think he wants to be on the court to have decisions that he was instrumental in be overturned by the court.
You know, that occurred to me. There may be one other reason that kind of goes along with that. And that is, and that might go to the friendship that he has with Donald Trump, and it's this reason. He could very well have influence in making suggestions to President Trump as to who his successor might be, a recommendation. And it sets it up. When is he going to have this kind of opportunity where he can make a suggestion to a president who's a friend of his, have that considered by the president, have that nominee, that preference be nominated, and then have that nominee be confirmed by the Senate? It's very rare that somebody would be in a position to handpick their successor, given everything that has to take place.
Or at least make the
suggestion. But this is set up for that to possibly happen.
That's exactly what I was saying. Two things. Number one, his young man is in there, Gorsuch. That was his clerk that he taught. And I wouldn't doubt it. Again, this is all speculation, by the way.
Right.
I wouldn't doubt it if it's like, Donald, I'll step down, but this is who I think you should put in. And Donald might have said, yeah, maybe you're right. Here's a couple of wonderful women that would be great justices, and that could be the case. But I think all of this is interesting as to why, bam, here it is. And
right.
he's retired.
Yeah, and people had absolutely thought he wasn't going to do it because he'd already hired his clerks. He had already filled his whole staff positions.
That's a great point. I think you guys are right. Kennedy clearly had the power here, and so it makes all the sense in the world that he would not just suggest, but dictate to Trump, I will step down on the condition that you nominate, this person.
And the interesting thing, if that is the case, and again, I agree with you, Fred,
Conjecture.
all speculation, all conjecture, but if that is really the case, look at how unique it is in the sense that pretty much since his nomination in 1987, he has been a uniquely powerful judge given the nature of his vote. And that power he has had as a judge over the decisions of the Supreme Court, given his unique position, has also possibly extended to the power to select the successor or to make a suggestion as to who the successor might be, and to have that actually employed. It's pretty unique. He does have all the power, not only in the decisions, but ostensibly in the selection of his replacement.
And he's moving back to Sacramento, by the way. He has a home in Land Park.
Yeah.
So he's coming back to Sacramento.
Maybe let's have him on Radio Law Talk.
That would be awesome.
Bring him on in, and we're going to have him sit here. This is what we opined. Which one of us was right? Oh, and by the way, Justice Kennedy, case or no case. Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah. He comes in and, we tell him all the things, and he says, oh, you guys are completely wrong. I'll tell you why I was stepping down. I got a great deal on a Winnebago from some guy selling it in Sacramento. But there was no rats in it. And I was like, heck, I'm on that.
And by the way, I know peaches.
Well, I think there isn't.
And you, sir, are no peaches.
Didn't you sell your RV? Didn't you sell your RV at one of our first shows?
Yes, I did.
I think that was why they asked you.
Yes, I think
that was the RV.
Experience.
That's exactly right. Remember, somebody called in from an RV in the Amargosa Valley, as I recall.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we have to talk Amargosa Valley when we talk RVs, but hey, welcome Amargosa Valley. We love you. We're going to talk about the jury rules and the Dr. Dre Jimmy Ovine owed millions in Beats headphone case. That's interesting. I got 30 seconds. I'm going to do it really quick.
Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah. $25.2 million in royalties was paid to him for Beats by Dre, because the big claim was, okay, yes, you have rights to the original Beats, but anything after that, you don't have the rights. But by a simple 9-3 vote, which is just barely, he won $25.2 million. We'll be right back and talk about a million other things we got to discuss.
There is much more Radio Law Talk coming up right here on your favorite radio station and on RadioLawTalk.com. Stick around.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk are for California legal services only. Business needs growth to survive, and Accelerate You is in the business of growing your business. Accelerate You gets it. They have sales professionals, real top talent teams. Accelerate You has venture capitalists, and Accelerate You has strategic partners who roll up their sleeves and help you grow your business. It's what they do. They help people in business just like you. In fact, last year, Accelerate You launched 30 successful go-to markets for startup companies. With success like that, you can see why Accelerate You is able to only work with a select group of companies, perhaps yours. If you want to increase revenue for your business, call 916-BETTER-0. That's 916-237-7370. 916-BETTER-0. Come on, grab the phone. Make the call. Accelerate You. 916-BETTER-0. Again, call 916-BETTER-0 for Accelerate You.
Jason Rosbach here with Fred Penny, managing attorney from Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Now, Fred, what type of cases are you dealing with now, and what sets you apart?
Jason, we help people with all types of personal injury cases. We're former insurance company trial lawyers. We understand the other side, which gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. Remember, we don't get paid unless we win.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennylawyers.com or give them a call, 1-800-616-4LAW. That's PENNEY lawyers.com.
This is Denise Sturks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
I've got to get my car washed. This dirt, it just won't do. But I don't have no time today. I don't know what I do.
Man, I know this place right down the road. Quick Quack Car Wash. Hop inside, let's take a ride and watch this cat and shine. Just come and see, I guarantee your ride will steal the show. Come on, Quick Quack Car Wash. Don't drive that dirty car. Quick Quack Car Wash. They'll have you looking sharp.
The cost of getting rid of garbage is high, and recycling products is lucrative. If you're a business or know of a business that needs an individual compactor or baler, call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. If you already have an industrial compactor, baler, or shredder and need service, don't forget to call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. Northwest Compacting, your full-service industrial compacting and baling company. Read more about them at northwestcompacting.com.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier.
My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school.
Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I feel like if I didn't have anyone to push me, I wouldn't even bother to do it. I got one milestone down the drain, and now I got to work on the next. I see the future is really bright for me. I feel like it doesn't matter the age, as long as you go back and get it done. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
No one gets a diploma alone. You have more support than you realize. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to RadioLawTalk.com. And now back to your host, Frederick Penny.
So we're back, going to talk about the Weepod and the P-Guard lawsuit, and that is against Target and the Weepod, and the name of the company is Prince Lionheart. So I think right there we should just put a pause so everybody can think about, these are all the parties that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and Chris Rodriguez turned to me and said, are we really going to talk about this? I said,
oh, stop it.
Absolutely we're going to talk about this. And before I forget, if you need any legal advice, seek a local counsel because here we're just talking about general topics of
We
law.
should have a special subject matter disclaimer.
No, this is the best one.
Just I'm going on record. I
Cannot
wanted
be
to talk
held
about.
responsible.
I wanted to talk about Beats by Dre. I may be silent for most.
Yeah, this is very important.
I might be silent for the entire segment just for my own safety.
Now, the first thing is I want you to understand and listen to all the names. These are legitimate, real names and real product names and company names. So there's a company called Prince Lionheart that makes the Weepod. The Weepod is a sit down, help the kids, the little boys and little girls learn how to go potty and get potty trained. And the Weepod has a Weepee guard, by the way, Chris. Make sure you can get one of those for your house. The Weepee guard.
Not to be confused with an iPod.
Same thing. Close.
Oh, come on.
So there's 15 toddlers that were injured by the Weepee guard or Weepod, apparently when getting off the toilet. And an actual, yes, we are bringing this up for a reason, people out there. There is a class action lawsuit against Target and the Weepod and Prince Lionheart Inc.
Do we have a dump button? Because I've got some thoughts actually that are bubbling up in my head, and
don't say them. And it's actually happening. And so about 2012, they were told there's these issues. This is what the plaintiffs are claiming. They were told these issues. And as much as we're kind of making a little bit light of this Lionheart thing, this could be an issue.
It's traumatic.
It's traumatic. And it goes through and lists out all the different times where there were
mothers from different states that actually contacted Prince Lionheart and made complaints.
Yep.
And it started in 2002 from a mother in California. Mm-hmm. And then in 2015, it was a Virginia parent. And then again in the fall of 2015, it was a mother from New Hampshire. And then in 2016, a mother in Virginia. And the class action is there, and they actually told one of the mothers they had no other complaints, and that was absolutely false.
Cal wants to comment. It's almost as bad as Rodriguez.
That's just a question. Are these boys or girls that are injured? I mean,
boys.
Is it
boys.
And it's one time I'm really glad that I am a female.
Oh, my.
Chris, do you have
I'm just thinking about this. Is this a class action lawsuit?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm thinking about this as a defense lawyer, and I'm going to make the argument that you're not going to be able to certify this class because there's no typicality. That these 15 young boys were injured only because of their abnormal endowment.
Their appendage.
Yes, and so you don't have commonality because anybody who's falling within the realm of normal in terms of, I don't know. I mean, I'm just, this is the kind of thing we're going to have to find out in discovery. Do we really want to go there?
This case is an interesting one because not only is there a class, but there's a subclass as well.
That's right. Target's the subclass.
Target's a subclass because Target was one of the retailers that was selling the Weepod and the
no,
it
sorry.
seems like this should be Weepee Pod.
No, it's the Weepod with the Weepee guard. That's true.
When interviewed, one of the plaintiffs had this to say. What's happening? So the manner in which the injuries are occurring.
That's what I want to know. Well, I don't really want to know.
So basically, the toddler would sit down on this padded seat that is an attachment to the top of the normal toilet seat. And the genitals would be underneath this Weepee guard so that if they urinated, the urine didn't go everywhere.
Splash all everywhere. Sure,
it hit this and went down.
Sure, yeah.
And when they were standing up,
yeah, that's the script.
Or getting off if they couldn't stand directly.
When they were trying to exit the seat, their penis would be caught on that guard and cause injury.
He's not allowed to say that.
No, you can say that.
No, don't say that. We'll put it neutral.
No, I was just expressing pain.
I guess he can say that.
So that is how the injury was occurring.
Okay, let's get to the legal part.
Would explain the lawsuit.
They knew there was problems. It was defective. They knew about the prior complaints. This is what the plaintiffs are arguing. They refused to take the product off the shelf. By the way, they fixed the product since, and it is safer for the children. And they did not. They had a duty to warn, and they didn't warn them of these potential dangers. Therefore, they were reckless. So those are all the issues that have come before the courts in this class action suit, but they have changed it. But the big issue that they're complaining of, they were told to take these off the shelf or recall them. And by the way, there was over 650,000 of them. That's why this company's saying they'll probably bankrupt them to recall them.
What's the ask for a damaged body part? How much money are they trying to get?
I don't know, but you know who's going to make the money?
No, not the class.
Not the class. The lawyers will make
Yeah,
the
the
money.
class action was filed in United States District Court in Southern District of Florida, West Palm Beach. And it's in the federal courts because
So no
of
specific
diversity.
damages were requested.
We're learning about it right now.
I think they can't because the class hasn't yet been certified. So
I got it.
I think that they got to get the class themselves part of it, and then they get certified, and then they can name the damage.
I think we got to, typicality is going to be an issue.
We're going to follow up on this. This is from the PR Newswire on June 21st. So this is pretty recent that this happened. So we're going to follow up on the Weepod and
this was filed.
Guard.
And this was filed in Florida.
Yes.
What a coincidence!
And then, by the way, Lionheart.
Why is that a coincidence?
Well, they filed it in the one state that is shaped like the injured appendage.
Oh my goodness!
and had trouble escaping from Cuba.
Exactly.
How are we called Radio Law Talk?
How are we going to keep our affiliates? Is what I want to know. All right, what time can we get out of here? Are we almost over?
We're getting
close. We have 30 seconds left.
We're going to be talking about the penile code next hour.
Oh man.
Prince Lionheart. That's it. That's the name of the company. So
Is that a USA company?
That's a California corporation.
Of course it is.
This is all true though. This is not like laughing, teasing. This is a fact. This is a fact. We'll come back and talk about something else.
Hey, call us at 855-LAW-RADIO. That's 855-529-7234. Or tweet us at Radio Law Talk or like us.
If you have a question at Child Protective Services, give us a call.
You're a don't. We'll be back.
All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk are for California legal services only. The cost of getting rid of garbage is high, and recycling products is lucrative. If you're a business or know of a business that needs an individual compactor or baler, call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. If you already have an industrial compactor, baler, or shredder and need service, don't forget to call Northwest Compacting at 888-201-0911. Northwest Compacting, your full-service industrial compacting and baling company. Read more about them at northwestcompacting.com.
My name is Frederick Penny of Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. I've assembled an excellent team of highly experienced personal injury trial lawyers. We understand the other side, which gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. At Penny & Associates, we will aggressively represent you and your family when someone has been injured in an accident. Remember, we don't get paid unless we win.
For a free initial consultation, go to pennylawyers.com or call 1-800-616-4LAW and ask for Frederick, Stewart, Rob, Kevin, Kent, or Will. That's Frederick Penny at Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers, 1-800-616-4LAW.
This is Denise Dirks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Hi, I'm Frederick Penny of Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. I bet you're tired of hearing lawyer commercials, so just relax and listen to music for a few seconds. When you or a family member has been injured, call 800-616-4LAW or see us at pennyandassociates.com. See, that wasn't so bad.
Business needs growth to survive, and Accelerate You is in the business of growing your business. Accelerate You gets it. They have sales professionals, real top talent teams. Accelerate You has venture capitalists, and Accelerate You has strategic partners who roll up their sleeves and help you grow your business. It's what they do. They help people in business just like you. In fact, Last year, Accelerate U launched 30 successful go-to markets for startup companies. With success like that, you can see why Accelerate U is able to only work with a select group of companies, perhaps yours. If you want to increase revenue for your business, call 916-BETTER-0. That's 916-237-7370. 916-BETTER-0. Come on, grab the phone. Make the call. Accelerate You. 916-BETTER-0. Again, call 916-BETTER-0 for Accelerate You.
I'm going to Quick Quack Car Wash. Get my car washed, make it quick, quack, pretty, shiny, sexy, just because I want to. Don't drive dirty. Going to get my car suds in the Quick Quack Car Wash. It's the Quick Quack, quickest and the cleanest by far. We're talking 3 skinny minutes sitting right in your car. Watch 100 feet of cloth, washing your car at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Any Honda, Mazda, Ford, or Chevy, Sauber, Cadillac, Quick Quack will spruce her up just like that. You'll be happy looking snappy. You'll be glad you was at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Get on the web and go to don'tdrivedirty.com and see where you got your closest Quick Quack in the local area. Get in your car, get in your truck, get on the road, come visit the duck at the
Quick Quack Car Wash, where your car will always leave happy, guaranteed. They take pride in being clean and green by conserving and recycling the water they use, only at the
Quick Quack Car Wash. Quick Quack.
When you were a little kid and you thought about what you wanted to be, teaching was at the top of your list. But things changed. And as you got older, teaching didn't seem like the best option anymore. So you're thinking you'll be something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Now you want to be a doctor. You don't think teachers save lives? 25 at a time. An actress? Try playing a different role every time the bell rings. How about a scientist? Ever heard of physics? Chemistry? Who do you think teaches that? Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, and taking learning far beyond the 4 walls of the classroom. It's time to recognize that great things are happening in teaching and put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
You're listening to RadioLawTalk.com. And now back to your host, Frederick Penny.
Yeah, we survived last segment, so let's move on to the boy who lost his leg during a camping trip receives $47.5 million. This one is a little bit of a shocker for me because I do plaintiff's work, and it's difficult to win these types of cases. And this is comes across Associated Press, where this is actually in San Mateo County, where a tree falls over and lands on this boy's tent. He's, I believe, 12 years old. And it hits his leg. He loses his leg and part of his pelvis. That's tragic at that age. And
that's tragic at any age.
Yeah.
Ouch.
At $47.5 million is a settlement. It's not a jury verdict. And this is what kind of happened. There's a 72-foot tall tan oak tree fell and crushed the tent. And they sued San Mateo County and its contractor, Davey Tree. Because don't forget, a lot of counties don't actually do all this tree trimming and take care of, like PG&E has companies that come out and take care of the vegetation around their poles and wires, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and this happened in a San Mateo County Memorial Park.
Right.
So that's why San Mateo was being sued.
That's exactly right.
But this Davey Tree was hired to come out to the campsite and to inspect. You know, anybody who's camped knows you're camping under these trees. You're hoping that somebody's looked at them to make sure that they're stable, right? And that's what Davey Tree was supposed to do, and apparently they didn't do a good enough job.
Well, what's interesting is how do you, I guess just think of the millions and millions of trees that and I'm not jumping on one side or the other, that you have to inspect and know. How do they know that, I guess it was rotten inside? How would you know that? I don't know. Apparently there's got to be experts. We don't have all the details. Yeah, arborists that said probably, look, here's the issue here, and it's very obvious. You know, you could probably tell by the way it's split and laid down that, any normal person that knows a little bit about trees would have been able to see this issue.
And they had to be by wires, too, because the contractor for PG&E was also sued.
Yep.
Western Environmental Consultants. So probably it was PG&E is responsible for trees that are around their wires, right? That would make sense.
But I think it's clear that the wires, PG&E didn't pay out any part of the settlement.
Right.
And I don't think the PG&E wires were involved in any way, but there may have been some obligation because it was near a wire to have somebody come out for wire purposes to inspect, and they failed to catch it also.
If I understand the case correctly, and I may not, Davy Tree is a big contractor for Pacific Gas and Electric Company.
San Mateo County. No,
Wait.
Yeah.
They do a ton of contract work for Pacific Gas and Electric, and they do also work for different counties and different entities. But PG&E's main function, they go out and look and say, yep, that's hitting the wires, or it's going to hit the wires, we've got to trim it back. For the county, their role was apparently quite different. And how PG&E got dragged in, I don't have any idea, except that maybe there's a Davy Tree connection. That's all I can think of out of that.
These are consultants. Western Environmental, they're consultants. They paid $17.5 million, and $30 million was paid by Davy Tree in San Mateo County. So I bet there's a lot of facts we don't have here that show that tree must have been in bad shape and limbs would have been fallen. And this is a settlement, and they actually interviewed the lawyers for the defendants, and they said all they could say is they were happy with the settlement. So $47.5 million. They probably had to have knowledge that something was wrong here, and they didn't do it.
You know, I did doing a little research on this case here, just into the victim, Zachary Rowe. And what an amazing kid. You know, so a couple of things about him. First, every parent's nightmare, something like this happening. He was on vacation in the Bay Area visiting from Arizona. So his parents get the call in Arizona. They've got to fly out. They don't know what the condition of their son is. But when they finally get there and the boy gets out of surgery, his first statement to his mom is, you know that show, I Shouldn't Be Alive? This is like that show. He was just grateful that he was alive, that his cousin who was in the tent with him was not hurt, nothing happened to him. And then while he's in the hospital, this kid is the one pointing out other people in the hospital saying, they're worse off than me. I have it easy. The kid's heart just goes out to other individuals. So a really good kid here.
Yeah, apparently he had like 30 surgeries.
He did.
Or something like
Yeah,
that.
they took part of his pelvis as well as his leg. And you know what his lawyer said at the end of this? He said, this is a very hard-fought victory on behalf of our client, and this case is going to help improve safety throughout California's campgrounds and public spaces. So that also there was a higher reason for fighting for this.
That's why I wrap myself in the flag all the time. When
it was 47 million reasons. I mean, do they really care about public safety at the end of the day? I mean, I guess they do, but the real thing here to me is you look at the big picture and you think, isn't that excessive? Had the tree taken the young man's life, how much do you suppose they would have gotten?
Here's the answer.
Just raising the question.
No, I will answer that question as a plaintiff's lawyer.
Yeah.
The answer is, believe it or not, Cal, and this is just talking straight up, it's a bigger case because this boy has to live with it the rest of his life. If they pass away, as bad as this sounds, a lot of times the child's not dealing with it. Yes, the loss of the child, that's worth lots of money, but
he's not working. He's not going to have lost wages. He's not going to have families supporting.
Medical problems for the rest of his life.
Of his life.
Right.
That's going to be. They're going to have to cover that, and that's where these cases get those big. $47.5 million is a lot of money, but you think about over this boy's lifetime. Now, if it's invested right, don't forget he's got to pay his attorney's fees out of that. There are expenses they have to pay out of that. They have to reimburse. There are reimbursements of medical bills that kid has to pay out of that. And so, believe it or not, everyone's like, well, that kid's going to get 47.5. No, he's not getting 47.5. He's going to get an amount a lot less. And
probably 20 million, something like that.
But still, or it might be put in an annuity. Now, the court, if they're under 18, the court decides what is done with the money, by the way, and they have to do what's called a minor's compromise. So they'll go in before the court and say, even though the parents, this is their child, the court has the ultimate say as to what they're going to do with the money and how it's going to be taking care of a child. And believe me, that is the greatest thing that I love about the California and other states' courts is there are parents out there that say, oh, my kid got a bunch of money. Yeah, I'm going to build a house. Hey, the kid needs a new house. No, the kid doesn't need a new house. You want a new house. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's a protection.
They probably need to upgrade it and make it accessible.
And that's a different story.
Right.
But I'm saying I'm just talking in general.
Yeah,
you could see
exactly.
some parents going, Jimmy, has this problem. I want to. Thanks for the settlement.
We had to buy a new vehicle a medical vehicle for transportation for
the Ferrari.
Yeah, what'd you get? We got a Ferrari. Yeah.
San Mateo did pay $24 million, so it was the $30 million was against San Mateo and its contractor Davy Tree.
Right.
So San Mateo paid the bulk of this.
24 of the 30.
Yes.
And you talk about cars now. Charles Krauthammer, the late Charles Krauthammer, who just worked for Fox and passed away, was paralyzed, from the chest down. They would laugh in the Fox newsroom when they would all pull up in their Geraldo had a Maserati. All these people pull up in these fancy cars, and the most expensive car there was the van, handicap accessible van that Charles Krauthammer drove. That was the most expensive car in the talent parking lot for Fox News. So it's not a small thing when you're talking about having a handicap accessible van. They're pricey.
Oh my gosh,
they're
super expensive. And then a lot of times you have to have people help you the rest of your life. I mean, they're going to have, and nowadays with prosthetics, and let me back up, if it was below the knee or something, the technology is so great, and I know technology is really good, but when you're taking part of your hip and it's all the way up the hip, that you're going to really struggle in life. And don't get me wrong, he's going to do great, and I mean, he'll do well nowadays. They just, the stuff they have, but below the knee, man, it's like you won't even know he's missing a leg. And so that's it. Anyway, judge tosses the city climate change lawsuit against Big Oil. So this is what's interesting. This is a very interesting case. So the city of Oakland, California, and San Francisco, California, sued the big oil companies, BP, and a number of other. And by the way, this is not the only city. It wasn't just Oakland and San Francisco, but some states and counties within New York and cities within New York, Boulder, Colorado, and 8 other California cities are bringing these lawsuits against Big Oil. ConocoPhillips, Royal Dutch Shell were the defendants too. I thought it was BP, but I don't see a BP. Trying to say that because of the sale of their oils, that climate change is ruining the world, and the key that they're trying to say is they want money to help pay for the damage that global warming is doing on the cities. And so the judge threw it out. And this is interesting. The judge said, and there's 2 issues here. The judge said, quote, "True, carbon dioxide released from fossil fuels has contributed to global warming." Now, the reason I'm saying that is we got 1 minute left, but I want to follow up on this. The judge said that, and defense, who lost, which is the city of Oakland and San Francisco, are saying that's a victory because the courts have now ruled that it is true that carbon dioxide released from fossil fuels contributes to global warming. And on my notes say no, judge shopping. And that's one judge's opinion. That's not what all the courts are saying. Believe me, another court will say something different. But the defense, San Francisco and Oakland, say that's a victory because now the court says it's true. No, that one judge says that's true. So anyway, also, remember, it basically came down. This is not for the courts to decide. It's for legislator and the presidential branch or the executive branch. We'll be right back. I'm trying to push this to end.
Radio Law Talk and RadioLawTalk.com. All advertising for legal services on Radio Law Talk are for California legal services only. Business needs growth to survive, and Accelerate You is in the business of growing your business. Accelerate You gets it. They have sales professionals, real top talent teams. Accelerate You has venture capitalists, and Accelerate You has strategic partners who roll up their sleeves and help you grow your business. It's what they do. They help people in business just like you. In fact, last year, Accelerate You launched 30 successful go-to markets for startup companies. With success like that, you can see why Accelerate You is able to only work with a select group of companies, perhaps yours. If you want to increase revenue for your business, call 916-BETTER-0. That's 916-237-7370. 916-BETTER-0. Come on, Grab the phone. Make the call. Accelerate You. 916-BETTER-0. Again, call 916-BETTER-0 for Accelerate You.
I'm going to Quick Quack Car Wash. Get my car washed, make it quick, quack, pretty, shiny, sexy, just because I want to. Don't drive dirty. Going to get my car suds at the Quick Quack Car Wash. It's the Quick Quack, quickest and the cleanest by far. We're talking 3 skinny minutes sitting right in your car. Wash 100 feet of cloth. Washing your car at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Any Honda, Mazda, Ford, or Chevy, Sauber, Cadillac, Quick Quack will spruce her up just like that. You'll be happy looking snappy. You'll be glad you was at the Quick Quack Car Wash. Get on the web and go to don'tdrivedirty.com and see where you got your closest Quick Quack in the local area. Get in your car, get in your truck, get on the road, come visit the duck at the
Quick Quack Car Wash, where your car will always leave happy, guaranteed. They take pride in being clean and green by conserving and recycling the water they use, only at the
Quick Quack Car Wash.
This is Denise Sturks. We can represent clients in divorce, legal separation, child and spousal support, custody, termination of parental rights, step-parent adoptions, guardianships, and even conservatorship matters. Call 1-877-886-7186 for a consultation.
The law offices of Denise L. Dirks provide family law services in Northern California. When the law affects your family, call 877-886-7186. The family of attorneys at Denise L. Dirks is here to help.
Jason Ross back here with Fred Penny, managing attorney from Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Now, Fred, what type of cases are you dealing with now, and what sets you apart?
Jason, we help people with all types of personal injury cases. We're former insurance company trial lawyers. We understand the other side, which gives us a distinct advantage over our competition. Remember, we don't get paid unless we win.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennylawyers.com or give them a call, 1-800-616-4LAW. That's PENNEY lawyers.com.
All right, guys, we need to have you read some lines for our disclaimer promo, but first, can anybody tell me what a disclaimer is? All right, then. Well, Denise, you go ahead.
Non uti concilius me oriere por questus purpurium juris consult.
Latin, that's a nice touch. Thank you, Denise. Next time we'll try it in English, if that's okay. Fred, how about you?
Cal, I don't want to read all this. Can't we just tell the people that we're general legal issues, and they should hire their own attorney instead of relying on what we have to say here?
Well, we could, I guess. Chris?
I'm not going to be there anyway. Why have me do it?
Let's have Todd do it.
Me? Read disclaimers? Why, I couldn't. The information you hear on Radio Law Talk is general.
The preceding promo was for entertainment purposes only. And if you want true legal advice, contact your own lawyer. Just a tip from your friends at Radio Law Talk.
Be sure to read our disclaimers on radiolawtalk.com as well.
Go to the website, radiolawtalk.com. You can listen to the show there, and there's a lot of other good information, too. That's radiolawtalk.com.
So we were talking earlier about the potty thing that was being that they didn't recall. Hewish Outdoors recalls scuba diving regulators due to drowning hazards. So we're not going to get into details about that, but that's interesting. It's always important to look at to see what's being recalled because of issues. There are many websites you can go to find out what's being recalled, but and being a scuba diver myself, that caught my attention. So be careful. So
I almost drowned. Yes, I was off Hawaii and went on scuba diving. And when I got to the bottom, the regulator failed. And they, you know what they do is they push the button to try to clear it. Right. And I wasn't ready. I grabbed my guide's foot, and he did that, and it went on my mouth. And so then he just pushed my thing, and I went up to the top, and I was so sick. I was sick for hours.
You know what they say, if at first you don't succeed, scuba diving may not be your thing.
Nor parajumping.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's interesting? I have, without getting details, we have represented a number of scuba diving people, had nothing to do with auto accidents, and people actually work for scuba dive companies, and one of the largest in the world, we represented one of the executives. And there are statistics out there that show the older you get, the likelihood of you getting sick or maybe even having a heart attack as you dive down deep, increases. And so, and again, I don't
Are
know.
you calling me old?
No, me. I'm talking about me. So I'm getting to me. So I've been diving since 1985, and I dove all over the world. And I actually have my own gear, I have my own equipment, and I've dove some of the most beautiful places. And my son does, my son-in-law, we all dive together. In fact, I've done a shark dive. In fact, I think you were with me on our. Remember we did we had a big lawyers convention in the Bahamas, and I did a shark dive. And
I didn't know you did the shark dive.
Were you in a cage or were you?
No, this is a huge bucket list thing. What they do is and this is anecdotal, by the way, and what you do is you go down there, and you're in trouble when your 3 guides are wearing the mesh, the metal mesh, and they have chum buckets with them.
Oh, gosh.
And then I'm looking and going, let's see, I've got my wetsuit on, let's see, I don't have anything else. And this is what they say, and this is true. They said, don't make sudden moves. Sharks eat on movement. And so they take us down, they drop us down in the sand. And actually Seth was with me. That's right, my son-in-law Seth, who is our call screener, now an attorney, Seth. And as you go down there, they sit you down and they say, now don't move. And then you see a few sharks cruising around. And these aren't little tiny sharks. These are like 15, 16-foot reef sharks. And they're big sharks. Now, the hammerheads are in the area too. So what happens, they have one guide there with the electric shock roaming around you as your guard, waiting for the hammerheads to come in, because the hammerhead is a very aggressive shark and will usually attack.
Of course, they're teased by all the other sharks in the shark kingdom. They're bullied because of their features. They have a mental condition. Ooh, look at the hammerhead coming out. Ooh, nice wide eyes there. Oh, look, you can look at both sides at the same time.
Are you auditioning for animated feature again?
Yes.
But the thing that gets me about sharks is the shark experts all say, sharks don't like humans. Most shark attacks on humans are just a case of mistaken identity.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. If I walk up behind you, Denise, and I tap you on the shoulder and you turn around and it's not you, it's somebody else, that's mistaken identity. Nobody loses an arm.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
Here's the best part, though. Guess what? Remember, one of their favorite things are what? Seals.
Yes.
When you're wearing a black wetsuit, what do you look like? A seal.
A big seal.
So anyway, I got to finish this anecdotal thing that has nothing to do with the law. As we sit down there, all of a sudden you start seeing the chum coming down by you.
I'm so glad I did not do that.
It goes from a couple of sharks to just swarms. And you want to sit there and don't move your flail your arms, because they're going after it. And the scariest thing is not watching the sharks come at you, because they'll come right at you and they'll turn. And these are 17-footers. But it's when you feel something behind you and all of a sudden, boom, and you get pushed forward and knocked forward, and it's the shark bumping into you.
Trying to get the chum off your back?
I don't know what they're doing, but here's what I'm trying to say. And we took pictures, and they take photos for you, and almost everyone we talked to said, oh, nice Photoshop. No, that's not a photo. I mean, we literally have pictures of sharks, 17-footers, coming right by your ear, and they're like, oh, you're. So anyway.
What do they call that? The assumption of risk cruise?
Yes, an assumption of risk
what
cruise.
Are you thinking?
Yes.
Yeah, they sit there and they go, oh, look at this picture here. Now, the chum is all red, but I noticed behind Fred there's a lot of brown chum there. I'm not certain what that is. But
Fred does not die from shark bite, but dies from the regulator that fails.
You know those sharks are sitting out there going, oh, I smell chum in the water. Hey, Rusty, you want to go over and scare some humans? Yeah, let's go. Come on, man.
All right, let's talk about the 2 Parkland baseball coaches who failed to confront Nicholas Cruz. Are going to lose their job. Now, the headlines are they're losing their job over that issue because they didn't stop them. But there's some little tidbits behind that.
They also were security guards, so they're not just coaches, but they're
security guards.
Yeah, they were also security guards, so they were both positions.
Well, yeah, they were security guards at the time of the shooting, right, Denise?
Yes.
And so the issue is, what did they do at the time of the shooting, and tell where they were and what they did. The one guy,
Andrew Medina is the is the first one, and it's reported that he saw Nicholas Cruz get out of the Uber car, had the bag, and make a beeline, I believe, for the 1600 building, which is where a lot of this stuff happened. And he didn't try to stop him. He knew he wasn't supposed to be on campus.
Yeah, because they knew he had been kicked out of the school.
That's right. They didn't try to stop him. He knew he wasn't supposed to be on campus. All he did was alert other folks that they saw him here. And the second security guard, Taylor, went and hid in a supply closet
when the shooting started. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, look, at least make an attempt to stop him to do something. And I get being afraid once the shooting starts, but you did nothing to stop somebody that you didn't know had a weapon, that you didn't know
that you knew wasn't supposed to be at the campus.
Wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah. You didn't do anything, and you let him go on campus.
Yeah, but you remember in the story, just to kind of pull it out, Aaron Feist was a security guard and a football coach as well. He was actually shot to death when he confronted Cruz
and tried to protect the kids.
I mean, so
hero. He's
a hero, but he's
But talk about a
dead.
lose-lose situation,
Yes.
right? You live and you're shamed for the rest of your life. You stand up as a hero and you lose
die.
your life.
Yeah.
And that's the next question. How do you gauge, other than truly realistic training scenarios, how somebody's going to react under that kind of stress? That's the hard thing here, isn't it?
I've heard people in the military say, you can't tell. You're being boot camp with somebody and you think some people are just the toughest guys in the world and other people you think are just absolute wimps and wouldn't do anything, and you really can't be 100% certain until the firefight starts who's going to step up, and oftentimes the assumptions you would make about people based upon stature and whatever are completely wrong.
So here's the interesting part to me, though. That doesn't come into play for one reason to me, according to Fred Penny, is, look, he saw this guy he knew was not supposed to be on there. He's carrying a big bag of something. There's the negligence. There's the issue to me, not what happened after. Man, you know that guy's a problem kid. You know that they've expelled him, and just cruising around that. No, you're walking over, you're running over. Stop. What are you doing?
Right.
And that's the biggest difference between Medina, the baseball coach, and the football coach who died. Because the baseball coach, before anything had happened, when Cruz is only carrying the bag, did nothing. And the football coach confronted him after the shooting started. So,
right, and the other guy hid in the closet, but it was after when the shooting started as well.
Now, they've hired lawyers.
Now, they initially try to bring these guys back? The school was trying to bring Medina and Taylor back, right?
Yeah.
And so there was a list of employees that the school board had intended to bring back, and it got published, and it drew outrage because at least one of these persons, Todd, he had done some other things that was kind of inappropriate, right?
Andrew Medina, the one football coach, prior to all of this, had been suspended for 3 days based upon allegations that he was basically sexually harassing 16, 17-year-old female students and making students feel so uncomfortable by his comments toward them. I mean, he's only mid to late 20s. But his comments were so uncomfortable, was forcing students to take different routes to their classes and whatever. So they suspended him for 3 days. When he was on the list to come back, that was one of the issues that was brought up to say, in addition to the shooting, you shouldn't bring him back for this other stuff, and he was let go.
Remember, we got a full house here. We're going to be talking about California splitting up. Is it legal? The Supreme Court talks about unions and the travel ban. We'll be right back, third hour, and we'll do case or no case.
Stay tuned. The third hour of Radio Law Talk is coming up next.
You have been listening to RadioLawTalk.com, a copyrighted presentation of Radio Law Talk Incorporated.